Hello, my astrology family. This is Lada from astrolada.com here with the beautiful Emin, one of our astrologers and amazing channeler. She did a series of channelings last year before even the coronavirus was a theme for anyone. And someone asked her, what is the coronavirus? And she didn't even know what it was, but she channeled that it's for manipulated and to control. And it turned out like that, as you can see. I mean, some people don't believe that still, but and she answered so many questions. It was amazing. So hello, M.
Hey, hey Lada, hey
Long time
everybody.
no see.
Yes, I'm
I,
so happy to be back.
I love having you here. And today you're presenting Leo, the forecast for 2021 for the sign of Leo, the royal sign.
Yes,
And please, whenever you want, you're welcome to start so we don't make the kings and queens wait for us.
yes, thank you. It's an honor to be able to speak to the Leos because I know that they're the only sign that are royal. And I felt a bit of pressure because Leos are so entertaining. And I felt like I really need to live up to that standard. So I'm going to do my best. Um, yeah,
Well, there's
so.
two ways to treat Leos, either to be very entertaining or to serve them. Because you
I'll
don't
do.
want you don't want to upgame the king, you know.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. That's a good point. And no pressure on the entertaining. Just make sure that I'm serving. So I'm hoping to give Leo some of uh, the positive news and some of the direction to what to keep in mind for the upcoming year. I've also, sorry. Yeah, sorry.
So I ask every astrologer, uh,
Yeah.
everyone that I work with, can you tell us something what you think of the year 2021? And because you're such a talented channeler, do you think you can like feel what 2021 might be with? Maybe just in 2, 3 sentences, something that you pick up on the energy.
Yeah, I've actually channeled in preparation for this video. And the major thing was that next year, 2021, will be a year of seed being sown. So on a global level, but also on an individual level, that some seeds will be sown for, but the feeling I got was that it's something new will be birthed, but it will be something that is out of this um, in the aftermath of this Capricornian restrictions, where we have, faced a lot of hardship and we have had to see what's important and, had to really sift to find out what we really want to hang on to. So out of that comes this new seed where we decide, um, so something long term will be born, where we have make a plan for something that's going to be durable. So we have a better grasp now of what's gonna last and what will not last. So seeds will be born from that. I don't feel like there's gonna be like lots of little things happening in terms of in the personal life. I feel like for every person there will be one major thing.
Big
So
thing.
people will sort of focus their energy and be very serious about this one thing rather than scatter their energy around a lot.
Wow.
So
Awesome. I'm getting goosebumps. That's true. I feel the same.
yeah, it's funny also how the channelings tend to correspond also to the astrological happenings, because I connect that to the Jupiter Saturn
In a yeah,
thing. So
absolutely.
I have a few thoughts on in the general, because I was inspired by the other readers. For example, Darren had some amazing points. So I want to just expand on some of the things that I've noticed that are general for everybody. So the first thing is the vaccines. So we've heard that the vaccines are coming out, like some countries are starting to inject people. And so I looked at Neptune is squaring the South and North Node on January 26th. So we have the South Node in Sagittarius, which is making long-term long trips almost impossible. We kind of have to let go of that wish, and we're focused more locally, and we're focused more on our local area, shorter trips. So Neptune squaring the nodes on January 26th. I feel that there will be some issue regarding the vaccination and travel. So perhaps there will be not necessarily legislation by just looking at that aspect, because Neptune is not really about that, but rather about something with vaccination and travel. So it will be some connection around there.
Ah, they'll probably want us. They'll say you can travel only if you have a vaccine, or it's not going to be by law, but the companies will decide, and they'll all decide. So it means I'm never leaving this house in this state.
Yeah, there may definitely be some indication that we should, or they might make us feel like you shouldn't travel if you don't take it, or something like that. But then also
manipulative approach.
yeah. Then also Neptune goes retrograde, so I think that these vaccines will be evaluated, because people will start to take them. Some of them very willingly, and a large group of us are going to be skeptical. But then from when Neptune goes retrograde from June 25th until 1st of December, I think that's when we're going to reevaluate. How did this happen? How did it go? Are we really happy with the results? Was it really necessary? Hopefully
that's the second part of the year, yeah? That's the second part.
Yeah. So I think the first part, they're just going to make people take them as much as possible. But then we get Jupiter in Pisces too for a few months in the year. But Jupiter is way too far off from Neptune for me to make so we won't necessarily be connected to the vaccines, but I feel like there will be some kind of a positive development in terms of people's illnesses. So fewer illnesses. It's also around the summer months, so will naturally be less problems. But I think when Jupiter enters Pisces, we'll have more optimism in terms of illness in general, and more hope. And then with Jupiter and Saturn joining in Aquarius, which will be for most of the year. As I said, Darren mentioned an amazing point about the Black Lives Matter movement, that they gained authority. Suddenly, the masses of people actually got authority through their demonstrations and through their online movements. So I do see that continuing. I do see that, and especially with Jupiter there as well, I think there is a possibility of some new legislations or new something new and positive put into place as a result of that. So progressive new legislations, because it's happening in Aquarius. So we want to see something progressive and more open-minded. Also to workers in general, workers, not just the Black Lives Matter movement, but people who are, because a lot of people really struggled with their jobs. Mm-hmm. So I think we're going to see some development there, perhaps legislation. And then I do also, sorry?
Aquarius is a lot about social help. Every time Saturn has activated Aquarius, I've noticed that, for example, like 100 years ago, they introduced social security, so people can, for the first time, receive pensions and things like that. So every time there is something that they do, so they might even, for me, it's this universal income. What was it called? I'm quite positive they would introduce that. I don't know if it's good or bad. For some people, it might be great,
Oh, that's a good point. That could actually happen with this. I don't know if they're going to do it now because I don't see it, but that would be cool. I think they will do at least something along those lines. That's very possible. Yeah.
But there'll be some social reformations, big time.
Yeah.
Social reforms is Aquarius.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes, yes, yes. And I look forward to it because Aquarius, I like Aquarius. And so I also continuing to see like technological solutions taking over for school and work, because as we did when we had Saturn in Aquarius last year, then we had the schools and yeah, schools and work, even though Jupiter wasn't in there. But Saturn went into Aquarius, and we all went online to do our duties and our responsibilities. So I do see new implementations for where we can do that at larger scale. And also progressive new seeds being sown in terms of laws and legislation with a long-term focus. Then when Jupiter squaring Uranus on January 17th, I see just financial troubles connected to technology somehow. Not sure what it might be, but financial troubles, technology, something like that. Then we have Saturn squaring Uranus, and what I see there, of course, it could play out in so many ways, but the main thing that I got, maybe also a bit intuitively, is the resistance to the restrictions on a large scale, but also the restriction of the resistance. So yeah. So people are, yeah, people are protesting the restrictions, but also people are trying to restrict people coming out. So there will be a tension there in terms of that. In general, I also see the continue, because the South Node will be in Sagittarius for the rest of the year, for the entire year. So I do see that travel is still going to be difficult. It's still going to be like flights are not going to be available in the same way. It's just going to be a lot more tough to get around the way that we would like to.
Yeah.
And yeah, I lost my trail of thought. Yeah, and then more local focus. Yeah, that continue. More local focus will continue. Now it's Leo time.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so there is let's get into the main themes first, and then I'll go into a bit more detailed. But the main theme for me, I think it's amazing and wonderful because it's the Jupiter and Saturn conjunction happening in the 7th house, which is amazing in the sense that now what I felt also intuitively around this is that Leos are generally, they're very, very loyal. They're extremely loyal. And if their partner disappoints them, they will be patient. They will be very patient. They will stick around, they will stay, and they will be as lovely as ever. But this year, I find Leos will have a new sense of setting boundaries, positive new boundaries, because we don't just have Saturn, we have Jupiter. So it would be positive boundaries. So, you know what Leo does, they want to do is still positive. They don't want to just be, you know, the Capricorn.
No.
Exactly. But they will feel a sense of boundaries. So they will be more likely to you know, restrict certain behaviors from others that they don't agree with anymore, and they will expect certain standards to be met, which I think is a really, really positive thing. Also, of course, the obvious thing is it's a very good year for serious commitments in general. So if you haven't been, you know, if you've been single for a long time, or you've struggled with relationships, this year will bring you either lots of opportunities or few opportunities, but very good ones. So either lots of opportunities with people who want to be serious with you, or just very few, but very good opportunities. And it's up to you what you do with it, of course, and how open you are and how you feel. But the main thing will be your own boundaries, what you feel is right for you. So yeah, so this new attitude to relationships and commitments. There will be also a more of a long-term approach to relationships, and knowing that you're a type of person who can see yourself going, you know, the distance with somebody. You will, you know, you will think more about how do I want this to, you know, am I willing to put up with this for a long time, or am I willing, you know, do I want to set the standard for the long term? So it's more of I feel like it's a very beneficial thing, but I feel like it's also more of an inner work that Leos are doing, because it's been testing for everybody, but also knowing that Leos, they are very patient. They are very patient, and they're not gonna uh, they're not going to put up with everything anymore, you know. So now people have to actually step up a little bit. If you have a good relationship, then it can go into a more serious commitment. Um, but if you don't, it could also mean could also be a positive breakup. Could also be the case, um, to make a space for something better.
Mm-hmm.
And with that was the major big. For me, I think that was like the biggest news, because I think that you know, with the Jupiter Saturn, it's wherever it's happening for anybody is really good. In Aquarius, Jupiter is actually really, you know, because Jupiter is that sense of joy on the inside, and Aquarius is that sense of what, you know, wanting to go forward and wanting to progress and really like believing in your dream. And together, I feel like those are like, they can really magnetize each other.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, Saturn is there too, but I think that compared to 2020, we also get really good boost of positive influence.
Mm-hmm.
But with that having said, I mean, we're still going to see the restrictions of gathering, and we're still going to have trouble traveling, but we're not going to have the major chaos and changes that we've seen for 2020. So it's not going to be felt as difficult like it was
Yeah,
last year.
that's traumatic.
Yeah, it's definitely been traumatic for most of us, I think. But this year it's definitely a more easy feel in general. Well, much more easy, to be honest. So with the details, so I'm just going to go into a couple of the months that are significant.
Julio?
Yeah.
Okay.
So for January, we have the full moon in Leo on 28th of January. So that is when, you know, you shed some skin, you shed some part of yourself, or get to fully express a part of yourself. And then we have Jupiter square Uranus is happening. So Jupiter in your 7th house squaring Uranus in your 10th house, 17th of January. So this could mean like partnership opportunities could clash with career progression. Could be sudden changes could happen in either partnership or career. And this is a theme that's going to happen. Well, no, this one only happens once.
Mm-hmm.
So partnership opportunities with career progress. But this is not going to be harsh. I mean, it's Jupiter and Uranus. It can only be good, I feel. Might be sudden, or it might be excessive, whatever happens, but I don't feel it's anything at all to worry about.
Yeah, so for example, you find out that you're starting a new job, and you have to find a solution how to work with something with your partner out, how to change you meet a partner, and now you have to adapt your career around that.
Yeah. Okay. And things might happen suddenly, but it's going to be felt as exciting because Jupiter and Uranus together are like supercharged. It's very exciting. So it's going to be good stuff. And then on Venus, in February, excuse me, Venus joins Jupiter and Saturn in your 7th house. So once again, really, really good for partnerships, really, really good for relationships. And you get more, you know, your relationships get more pleasant, you feel more charming towards others. It's more supported in general for relationships. And so February will be a really nice, smooth month.
Even to meet someone possible with such powerful activation in the 7th house.
It's so likely. It's highly, highly, highly likely to meet. If you're single, it's very likely to meet somebody new. And it's, if you do, it's likely to be positive, good for you, and long term. So for Leos, it's unless you are actively avoiding a relationship that is good and lasting, this is ideal, you know, really ideal.
And I think also if you're not into relationships, it's a business partnership or a partnership to collaborate with someone to co-create something together. That these are such strong months, February, and actually the whole year, I think, with Saturn and Jupiter there to do that. And the seventh house is also, I've often seen it activated when you're signing a contract or agreement, doing an agreement with someone about something. So that's also good as well. And yeah, seventh house is all of those things. Popularity is the seventh house, reaching out others, you know, attracting others on your side. Somehow.
Yeah, I wasn't even thinking about work. My mind was somewhere else. My mind was in the love life department.
Because I'm a Leo moon and I'm like, I don't want more love. I had enough, enough partners. I want, you know, business partners, business deals, this kind of.
Yeah, for that, this is ideal. Even for, you know, there's no better time than now, and the chances are really good. So if you meet new people now, you're offered new contracts, or you know, it's very, very prosperous time. It's a very, very lucky time. So the people that offer you any contract or commitment or signing anything, this is going to be a really good time to do it.
And can I add something as well? The seventh house is partners, especially if you're a Leo ascendant and Leo in moon. Not so much the sun, maybe to a lesser to 25 degrees, but Leo ascendant, Leo moon, with all those planets in your seventh house, especially February, January, it can mean some new chapter starts in the life of your partner if you have a partner already. For example, that they get a new job, or they start on a new life direction, or they go on a decide to just to start exercising and changing all their routines. But something you can, you know, if it's not you doing something with a partner, is the partner starting a new chapter in their life, something exciting. Something.
Yeah, that's very true. But also, you reminded me, if you have like an open like if you have an open enemy with somebody, if you have you know, a lawsuit, or like you're divorcing or whatever, that could actually come to a positive conclusion now, or you can get some positive karma from that. If you've done the right thing, then things could, you know, turn in your favor. So for those things, it's good also. So hopefully no more enmities. Then we also, in February, we also have the Saturn square Uranus, the first one that happens. So then we actually have, that's when a partnership or a commitment might restrict some career changes, or there might be perhaps sudden commitments in love or work contracts. And there might be some contracts that you feel might restrict your progress. So there is a clash between progress in your career and commitments to other people or to contracts. And that will come up 2 more times in the year. So that's something good to keep in mind. So whatever comes up in February might come back. It's usually the same thing, same theme when it comes back around. So this issue might be looked at 3 times in this year. But a good way to keep in mind with that is that try to do right by both. It's not going to be easy, and it's not going to be obvious how to do it, because the situation will be, it's going to be a clash, but try to do the best you can to do right by both, so that there won't be any negative consequences. But you're probably going to have to redo the situation at least once, and then come to a conclusion at the end of the year. Then in May, we have, now I skipped a couple of months because I wanted to get to the juicy stuff. So in May, we have a total lunar eclipse, I believe it's a total one, in 5 degrees Sagittarius, which is your 5th house. Now, you have the South Node in your 5th house. So although you have all this fantastic relationship opportunities coming your way, when it comes to romance and fun and dating, so if you're single and you're dating, you may feel like, you know, my dating life isn't going well. Where are all these relationships going to come from? But so the South Node is actually, it has a lot of benefits, but as you've taught me, Lada, it's actually when you release it to God. So nothing, and when you have South Node in the 5th house now, things won't materialize from you working at it, pushing it, moving, trying to make it happen. You just have to have a very uh, relaxed approach to it, release it to God, and yeah, and wait it out, you know, because you do also have the positive relationship, um, the positive in stuff in your 7th house. So it wouldn't be so it's, yeah, so you do have positive things to support it anyway. However, with this lunar eclipse happening in your 5th house, that means it could be that perhaps you're releasing a lover. So it could be that the end of a lover, that's not a committed relationship. So this could be where these boundaries come into play and you feel like, I'm disappointed because the South Node is there. So I'm disappointed. So I'm just going to release you. It could also be a positive, nostalgic experience related to something fun or to self-expression or to a hobby or something like that. So lunar eclipses are quite emotional around that time. So it's going to be a release of emotion in some way. But it could also be letting go of a hobby or an interest. Leos are very, very creative, especially the men have to have something creative that they do. So this could be a time where they perhaps let go of one hobby because they're committing to something else. They're committing to other things. Where the Jupiter is, they have this contract they want to focus on.
And also it can mean completing. Full moon is like
Mhm.
you're completing some creative projects and you're seeing the results of it then. So
Yeah.
you're done with it after that, but it's like completion, full fruition type of thing, seeing the fruits of.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we might see a lot of you know, artwork or in entertainment stuff that you know, that a Leo created come come to be published then.
Yeah. Or a
Um,
book, or it might be even you're
yeah.
completing a website or your
Yeah.
business. You've been preparing
Yeah.
your business to start because 5th house is anything you create with your own
Mhm.
original ideas. And even if
Mhm.
you work in an office, but you're asked, for example, to do the cover of a magazine
Mhm.
and you've been working on it for a few months and you complete,
Mhm.
anything like that. Sorry,
Yeah.
carry on.
Yeah, no problem. And then we have Jupiter entering Pisces, which is your 8th house, on between May and July. So this is going to be a time where you're going to feel, you're going to have more self-awareness. You might find out secrets. You might go through some psychological healing. You might get financial windfalls. You might get, there's definitely a greater chance of getting a loan. You may get a inheritance. You also feel capable of a deeper intimacy, or you feel like you want a deeper intimacy with your partner or with people in general. So your talks might get more, your conversations might get more deep and more soulful, and you might reveal to people that you trust. You might reveal more of your authentic self and your deeper feelings. You'll also be receiving more support. But with 8th house, it also gives you a bit of a more, turns on the lights on our, our inner world. So the good and the bad, both the wonderful and vulnerable side of us, the most beautiful, precious side of us, but also our fears and perhaps childhood issues that we've, but it's in Pisces, so it's also very gentle. Your 8th house is in Pisces is in your 8th house, so it's a very sort of gentle, and that's also why you're so intense about creating art and creating, because Pisces just gives the 8th house gives the intensity to the Pisces and the art and the fantasy and the all of that stuff. So it could also be a time where you get more into if you're into any kind of like fine art or movies or creating any kind of beauty or illusion or stories or anything like that. This is a time where it's going to feel more, can get more intense. So it might really benefit your art. And then in June and July, Venus and Mars are going to be in Leo. And you will, so Venus and Mars are joining you in your own sign, which means that you are going to be super magnetic, because when Venus and Mars are together, people get so attractive. They get really, really magnetic. So
Now you're talking. Now Leos are like, yeah.
yeah, this is fantastic, because it's rare also that Venus and Mars are the same sign together. Well, it's not super rare, but this is going to be for, I think it's for 2 months. They don't come in at the same time and all that, but you have 2 months of like increased magnetism, really. And together with the other good aspects, I think it's really good time. So you're going to feel very attractive. You're going to notice that people are responding to you much, much better. Like you're going to be, people are going to notice you on the street, because this is the type of magnetism that people will like. They will turn around for you. You know, it's a really, really good one. But we also have Saturn opposing both of them at different times, but around that time, Saturn will oppose both, not for the whole period. But then, so that's when perhaps your boundaries might kick in, or perhaps might be your commitments kicking in, your where there'll be a restriction of, maybe your partner feels like, where are you going with all this magnetism? Maybe.
You're shining too much. Tone it down a bit.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. But but that opposition is quite short-lived. So it's a really, really good time. It's a very, for Leos, I think it's a fantastic year. Also because the Jupiter and Saturn opposition conjunction is happening on their descendants. So it's happening in an angular house, and I think it's for Leos, it's a very blessed year, I feel. Then we have the solar eclipse on 10th of June in Gemini. So that's your 11th house. That means that's also a very, very good thing to happen, which is something new, or some seeds will be sown for perhaps a new dream or a new ambition that you want to achieve for your own self, or perhaps a new community that you're joining, a new group of friends that you're joining. So 11th house is all blessings. I can't think of anything negative that come out of an 11th house. It's such a good house.
Well, some new idea or opportunity for social economic gains, so financial rewards and stuff.
Oh yeah, it could be financial as well. But it's definitely one of those houses that feel, we're going forward. Something is happening and we're like achieving things. It's definitely one of those motivational houses. So something new will be sown. So it's gonna, perhaps take a few months, but the seed will be sown around that time, and then it will keep growing.
I had this image because the previous month is the lunar eclipse of endings and letting go in the 5th house. I just had an idea of breaking up with a not very committed boyfriend and going to join a community somewhere. And the next month, when the new moon eclipse is in the 11th house, and going and joining on the beaches of Goa, some community, and hanging out. If you can.
I think that's definitely going to be the case for some Leos. Yeah. Of course, it can manifest in so many different ways, but I think that's going to be definitely for some people. That's going to be exactly what happens. But then also we have Saturn squaring Uranus again around this time. So whatever was the issue back in February will probably come back. So try to just do the right thing, because Saturn is there. Saturn don't play. You just got to do what you got to do. But also Uranus, unexpected things might happen. And then we have, I'm skipping to November, when we have a lunar eclipse in Taurus, which is your 10th house. So already you have, so Leo's already, you have the Uranus over the 10th house already. So in terms of your career, if it's not going forward, then it's going away. So there's sudden changes. If things are not moving ahead for you, then things will change. When I had the Uranus over my 10th house, there was like very fast progression. So I would skip around a lot, do a lot of different things, but I would get very far. And then I would get extremely bored and something would have to change. And it was also like lots of sudden changes. But the theme with Uranus is progress. So as long as you keep progressing forward, you're going to get the best out of it. If you're not progressing forward, then Uranus will just push you out, move you somewhere else, do some other job.
So you don't want to get stuck with your career.
Yes.
It's like
Uranus. Yes, exactly. You cannot. The Uranus will not let you get stuck with your career. But also in terms of your goals in life. So with the lunar eclipse in November, that is the peak of a career project, perhaps something coming to fruition, something that you also with the 10th house, something that you've worked on for a long time, and now you can present it to the world. You can give it out. So and perhaps it's a time where you have extra visibility and extra public recognition. So it's the peak of something, and it's going to be a very positive experience.
It might be also that you decide to quit. You see, like, I've done this career, or this place, this position. It's, I've given it all I can. I've received all I can. It's time to move on, type of thing. Because it's with the South Node. No, it's with the North Node. So it tends to give you, even if it's more like you complete something and you receive something for it, or okay,
either way it's going to be a positive thing, but also it could definitely be like a change in career, because that's already on the cards for you, Leo. For the rest of the year. For a couple more years. And then in December, we have the total solar eclipse in Sagittarius in your 5th house. So with the total, that means that it's a complete new beginning. But because it's with the South Node, so it's got something to do with the past, or it's got something to do with perhaps could also be something non-tangible, I'm thinking, with South Node.
It might be like a more spiritual, romantic connection. Someone, something new beginning, but it's South Node is spiritual. It's like more soul connection type of romantic relationship.
Yeah, that would be a very good expression of that, actually. It could also be, rebirth, restarting something, or like starting from the beginning, some old hobby, something that you had from before, or an old lover, or a mode of self-expression, whether it's, drawing, or, producing a movie, or making music, whatever it is, could be like the start of something that's connected to something that you're familiar with, or from a past life as well. I think that was, let me just make sure that I got everything. Oh, I just want to make a quick comment in general for the longer term. So Neptune is still in your 8th house. It's going to stay there for a long time. So extra sensitivity when it comes to your deeper feelings and intimacy, and the things that are very sacred to you are extra vulnerable and should be cherished extra much. With Jupiter entering in there, I think it's going to be a very lovely, even you could become more spiritual.
Into astrology, into a cult, into...
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, Jupiter in 8th house, we both have that. So yeah, that's very likely. And also, you have only a couple more years left with Pluto in your 6th house, which means that the restrictions, or the heavy responsibilities that you've had in terms of family life, work, those are going to ease up in a few years. Luckily, it's not going to be as intense as 2020. So it's huge, and you're going to have a lot of positive, supportive things happening this year. But there's still going to be a sense of transforming how you do your daily duties and how you serve. And perhaps there's going to be a lot of sense of, perhaps a sense of powerlessness towards your responsibilities in the in the house, in the home, or in the workplace. Um, but as I said, it's going to be compared to 2020, it's going to be definitely a strong sense of like taking a breath of fresh air, breathing again. Even though I do see continued restrictions in terms of people gathering and continued difficulties traveling, but there is no real, except for the square. That's the only major thing. This Saturn square Uranus.
Yeah.
Apart from that, the other things are like we can definitely handle it.
Thank
For
you. I love
yeah,
that. It was so positive. It was,
thank
yeah,
you.
I loved it. And thank you so much, Em. And Em is offering one of her amazing reports, which is money, career, cash flow report. No, money, purpose, and flow report, which is usually $500, is now only $99. And it comes with a gift of her amazing webinar on remedies. If you're interested in astrology remedies, Em is the master of them. They're practical, some are spiritual. So she's made a compilation of all the remedies she's discovered. Of course, she has Jupiter in the 8th house, and people with Jupiter in the 8th house, they look for remedies and healing. So if you'd like to order her report, it's discounted just for a short time till the end of the year. The money purpose flow report plus free remedies webinar. And you can also check Amin's services. She's doing recorded readings, and she's doing also, do you still do medium channeling?
Yeah, if they order, if they want a reading with me, they can choose whether they want a astrological reading or a channeled reading.
Okay,
Or
so
both. Sometimes I can.
Paul, you're
Yeah.
amazing at channeling. You blew our socks off last year with 3 episodes. Hopefully you can do again new ones, because
Yeah,
we
I want to do more. I want to do more. I can't say exactly when and because I'm still getting back into work now, but yeah, I definitely want to do more channelings, and I really hope that people find it useful and come with their questions and join me with it, because I like when it's interactive.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Em. Big hug
Lada,
and
thank you.
Happy New Year. See
Happy New
you
Year. Bye-bye.
again. Em will come back with channelings and you can ask questions. It's amazing. Bye-bye.
Bye.